Aliscia Littlejohn, and I will be doing black people stereotypes, specifically, um, people stereotyping black women or black men as trying to be and or talking white just because they have some sort of, education or they live in the northern portion of the United States. Um, so basically, in this paper, I talk about like how I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, which is, you know, uh, Nebraska is predominantly white, and Omaha is vastly white. But yeah. So I'm just talking about like, how I grew up there and how it was different, and since I went to pretty good schools and so on, and got a nice amount of education, people often told me that I spoke differently or that I spoke like a white girl because I was not raised in the same environment. And so later on in life, when I was 14, I moved to Dallas, Texas. Went to high school in Dallas, Texas, and later on down the line, years and years later, later in high school, they ended up telling me that I've been down south too long. You know, um, Now you're starting to have an accent, and that was looked in a negative light. And everything was just kind of a reaction to me and my experience as a young black female. And it was basically an attitude towards something that they did not understand. And I actually kind of compared that to the speaker, Vershawn, and then kind of Vershawn passage that was going over Baldwin and Fish comments about a good literature or a good linguist. And he spoke about Fish remarks about writing, and he was basically kind of like opposing it. He played the antagonist because Fish found that it's very essential, for someone to be able to write correctly and or speak politically correct. Be the norm, not be different, so others would not have an attitude or prejudice or an emotion towards you, so you would not be someone who stood out, the oppressed, basically, because the oppressed always stands out. But yeah. And I just felt like in that finding that it just all revolves around people who are not being open-minded. Like, it just reverts back to, that attitude comes from an insecurity within, or a fear per se within. Because when you are insecure, you are a fearful person. So yeah, that always it kind of reverts to an emotion and or an attitude. So really, I agree with Vershawn and his way of thinking, because he thinks that there is not one language, no one way of writing. It's the important part, the imperative part is that the person is able to get their point across and be fully understandable. And everything else, all the other, tainted thoughts and judgments are because people are not open-minded. And when you are closed-minded, you are often susceptible to negative emotions and or attitudes. Thank you.